What's going on, beautiful people all around the world? It's your favorite young king and the place to be, your host with the most, Donald M. Schuler Jr. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Royalty Connection podcast, the Black History Month edition. If this is the first time you're coming across the Royalty Connection podcast family, please do us all a favor, leave a rating, a comment, like, share, tell somebody that you found something that is life-changing and will help you be the positive change that this world desperately needs to see. So without further ado, our first Black History Month honoree will be the legendary Miss Unbought and Unbossed herself, Miss Shirley Anita St. Hill Chisholm. Coming up right now. Miss Shirley Anita St. Hill Chisholm was the first African-American woman in Congress and the first woman and African-American to seek the nomination for President of the United States from one of the two major political parties. Her motto and title of her autobiography, Unbought and Unbossed, illustrates her outspoken advocacy for women and minorities during her 7 terms in the U.S. House of Representatives. Born in Brooklyn, New York on November 30th, 1924, Chisholm was the oldest of 4 daughters to immigrant parents Charles St. Hill, a factory worker from Guyana, and Ruby Seal St. Hill, a seamstress from Barbados. She graduated from Brooklyn Girls High in 1942 and from Brooklyn College cum laude in 1946. Although professors encouraged her to consider a political career, she replied that she faced a double handicap, as both black and female. She earned a master's degree from Columbia University in early childhood education in 1951. By 1960, she was a consultant to the New York City Division of Daycare. Ever aware of racial and gender inequality, she joined local chapters of the League of Women Voters, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, also known as the NAACP, the Urban League, as well as the Democratic Party Club in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. Chisholm entered the world of politics in 1953 when she joined Wesley Mack Holder's effort to elect Louis Flagg Jr. as the first black judge in Brooklyn. The Flagg election group later transformed into the Bed-Stuy Political League. The BSPL pushed candidates to support civil rights, fought against racial discrimination in housing, and sought to improve economic opportunities and services in Brooklyn. Chisholm eventually left the group around 1958 after clashing with Holder over Chisholm's push to give female members of the group more input in decision-making. She also worked as a volunteer for white-dominated political clubs in Brooklyn, like the Brooklyn Democratic Clubs and the League of Women Voters. With the political league, she was part of a committee that chose the recipient of its annual Brotherhood Award. She also was a representative of the Brooklyn branch of the National Association of College Women. Furthermore, within the political organization she joined, Chisholm sought to make meaningful changes to the structure and makeup of the organizations, specifically the Brooklyn Democratic Clubs, which resulted in her being able to recruit more people of color into the 17th District Club and thus local politics. In 1960, Chisholm joined a new organization, led by former elect Flagg member Thomas R. Jones. The UDC's membership was mostly middle-class, racially integrated, and included women in leadership positions. Chisholm campaigned for Jones, who lost the election for an assembly seat in 1960, but ran again 2 years later and won, becoming Brooklyn's second black assemblyman. After Jones chose to accept a judicial appointment rather than run for re-election, Chisholm sought to run for his seat in the New York State Assembly in 1964. Chisholm faced massive resistance based on her gender, and the UDC was hesitant to support a female candidate. Chisholm chose to directly appeal to women voters, including using her role as a Brooklyn branch president of Key Women of America to mobilize female voters. Chisholm won the Democratic primary in June 1964. She then won the seat in December with over 18,000 votes over Republican and Liberal Party candidates, neither of which received more than 1,900 votes. Ms. Chisholm reviewed political statistics in 1965. She was a member of the New York State Assembly from 1965 to 1968, sitting in the 175th through the 177th New York State legislatures. By May 1965, she had already been honored in a Salute to Women Doers affair in New York City. One of her early activities in the assembly was to argue against the state's literacy test requiring English as the only language. Ms. Chisholm states, holding that just because a person functions better in his native language is no sign a person is illiterate. By early 1966, she was a leader in a push by the statewide Council of Elected Negro Democrats for black representation on key committees in the Assembly. Her successes in the legislature included getting unemployment benefits extended to domestic workers. She also sponsored the introduction of the SEEK program, also known as Search for Education, Elevation, and Knowledge, which provided disadvantaged students the chance to enter college while receiving intensive remedial education. In August 1968, she was elected as the Democratic National Committee woman from New York State. The Speaker of the House assigned Chisholm to serve on the House Agricultural Committee. Given her urban district, she felt the placement was irrelevant to her constituents. When Chisholm confided to Reby Schneerson that she was upset and insulted by her assignment, Schneerson suggested that she use the surplus food to help the poor and hungry. Chisholm subsequently met Bob Dole and worked to expand the food stamp program. She later played a critical role in the creation of the Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for Women, Infants, and Children, the WIC program. Chisholm will credit Schneerson for the fact that so many poor babies now have milk and poor children have food. Chisholm was then also placed on the Veterans Affairs Committee. Soon after, she voted for Hale Boggs as House Majority Leader over John Conyers. As a reward for her support, Boggs assigned her to the much-prized Education and Labor Committee, which was her preferred committee. She was the third highest-ranking member of this committee when she retired from Congress. In 1971, Ms. Chisholm joined the Congressional Black Caucus, in addition to the National Women's Political Caucus as a founding member. On January 25, 1972, in a Baptist church in her district in Brooklyn, Ms. Shirley Chisholm announced her presidential bid, calling for a bloodless revolution at the forthcoming Democratic nomination convention. In her presidential announcement, Chisholm described herself as a representative of the people and offered a new articulation of American identity, saying that I am not the candidate of Black America, although I am Black and proud. I am not the candidate of the women's movement for this country, although I am a woman and equally proud of that. I am the candidate of the people, and my presence before you symbolizes a new era in American political history. Ms. Chisholm's motto throughout her presidential campaign was all about being unbought and unbossed. Her constituents usually called her Fighting Shirley. Even though Ms. Chisholm's 1972 presidential campaign was unsuccessful, she continued to fight for race and gender equality, as well as ending the Vietnam War. She continued serving in the House of Representatives. In 1977, she was elected as Secretary of the House Democratic Caucus. Chisholm retired from Congress in 1983, where she was succeeded by Major Owens. Ms. Chisholm passed away January 1, 2005 in Ormond Beach, Florida. In 2015, Ms. Shirley Chisholm was posthumously awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Ms. Chisholm, we honor you, we thank you, and we applaud you for your service. May we all live to be worthy of our calling and remain unbought and unbossed.
I stand before you today as a candidate for the Democratic nomination for the presidency of the United States of America. I am not the candidate of Black America, although I am Black and proud. I am not the candidate of the women's movement of this country, although I am a woman and I'm equally proud of that. I am not the candidate of any political bosses or fat cats or special interests. I stand here now without endorsements from many big-name politicians or celebrities or any other kind of prop. I do not intend to offer to you the tired and glib cliches which for too long have been accepted part of our political life. I am the candidate of the people of America. Those of you who agree with me that the institutions of this country belong to all of the people who inhabit it. Those of you who have been neglected, left out, ignored, forgotten, or shunned aside for whatever reason. Give me your help at this hour. Join me in an effort to reshape our society and regain control of our destiny as we go down the Chisholm Trail for 1970.
Thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode of the Royalty Connection Podcast, the Black History Month edition. Today we highlighted the legendary, the infamous Miss Unbought and Unbossed herself, Miss Shirley Chisholm. If you found this video and information to be enlightening, please comment, share, subscribe, and tell somebody that you found something that really piqued your interest. Also, don't forget to be a cashier so you can make and create change everywhere you go. God bless.